Hello there, fresh and happy morning, Philippines. Good afternoon to the other parts of the world, and good evening to our beloved guest poet from the UK who will introduce himself later. This is Helen Sorita, and you are in the MEBS, the Mother Eagle Blossom Show. I am showcasing poets and bringing their voices all over the world. We will be conversing about what life matters and more. This is our Valentine special, and we will entertain you, our viewers, by reading some of our romantic poems. So without further delay, I would like to welcome this handsome poet with me, Mr. Sarfraz Ahmed. Let's meet this poet. Hello, Sarfraz.
Hello,
How are
Helen.
you?
Hello, how are you? How are you? Are you all
I'm
right?
good. So happy to converse with you
Thank
today.
you. Thank you so much. So much. I think, it's crazy because a lot of people think I've been writing poetry for about maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 years, but I've actually been
Yeah.
writing for about 20 years.
Oh
And
my God.
recently it's been all my books that have been out there and the poetry and the global community, and they've all embraced me. And
Wow.
it's pretty exciting. I've got to say, but it's just engaging with people that love poetry and romantic poetry and all the love and
Wow.
everything. So we're coming to Valentine's Day, so it's exciting,
Yes.
and
Yes,
people are
right.
reaching out for poetry and romantic poetry. So it's wonderful and a privilege and an honor to be here from the UK. So thank you so much.
I am so pleased to have you. And you are now popular, Sarfraz. Then how did you are known as romantic poet. So how did that title come about?
Yes. So people do call me the romantic poet. So let me tell you how that came about. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was it was a couple of years ago. It was in the pandemic. It was in
Yes.
lockdown. We were reaching out, and my first book came out. Now, my first book, the first edition, was only 60 pages. It had no
Okay.
picture of me. It had no bio of me.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, and so when it was released, people bought it. They were buying it, and Annette Tarpley actually bought it in the US. And
Okay.
she goes to me. She goes, "I couldn't at that. She hadn't seen what I looked like, but she goes, I couldn't put it down at all." And I said to Annette, "Which poems do you like?" And she says, "All the romantic ones." And so from that moment on, she called me the romantic poet, and Annette is very popular through online and social
Yes.
media and a passion of poetry, and that's where the name came. And I didn't
Yeah, and I
realize that I
love
wrote
romantic
such romantic
poems. I love to
poems.
write that so, and also love to read from some poets because when it's a romantic, it's some kind of chilling you.
Yes, and I,
Yeah.
I, I always say, if you want to know about the poet, read their poetry, because it comes from the heart. You
That's
know,
right.
That's the truth. And love is one of those things, is one of those emotions that we all either we want in our lives, we long for, there's a longing for to be loved and to be loved in return. So I think people like
Yes.
reading about love. Yeah,
Yes,
it's
that's
great.
right. And even it's painful, sometimes it's sad, but there's beauty in it. I remember
Yes, of
Alan
course.
Johnson told me that because I have sad poems and hey, I love sad poems. There's beauty in it. Yeah. So,
Yes, it's interesting about the sad poems because I was doing an interview in India. So there was
okay.
and they go to me that they love the tragedy of the poetry and the sadness of it, and but also
Yes.
of it also. They love all the, how words can be put together on paper, but also to pull those heartstrings and those raw emotions. Oh,
Yes.
they absolutely love it. But
You know,
that's
when we
poetry for
are
you.
so sad or extremely sad, we can write well because there will be
Yes.
full of emotions, right?
And the thing is with writing is one of those things that, and I encourage everyone to write because it releases all those emotions from your head, and if you've got any burdens, you put it on paper,
Yes,
and you it kind of eases your kind of your burden, and
that's
that's where it
right.
started for me. So I started writing just to kind of like journaling, get some thoughts onto paper,
That's
but
right.
and that became poetry.
And we are so blessed that we have talent to write, right?
I call it
And
my kind of, I think it was my fifth book, The Gift of Poetry, and that's
hey,
why I called it The Gift of Poetry because
that's
I believe
right.
that
It's
poets and
it's a gift.
writers,
Yeah.
it's a gift
It's
because
really a gift.
we can create worlds that we can step into. We can
Yes.
move anything. If we want to meet anyone in a poem, we can meet them. If we want to create a
Right.
situation, we can create it. So
You're
it's a
such
gift.
a nice guy. So
Thank
yeah.
you. Oh,
So
Helena.
yeah,
Oh,
you're so
wonderful. This is
good.
so good.
I love
And
talking
and
with
I
you.
love it because I have such great love for the Philippines so much.
Yeah,
And this is the
thank
truth of it
you. Thank you
because
so
in fact,
much.
it's a pleasure because I have so many people that I kind of engage with, and they
Yes.
actually come up to me and say, "Safraz, we like the way you write. We enjoy it. We want
Yes.
more."
You
So
have so
blessings to
many
the world
fans
and to the
here, I
Philippines.
know. So yeah, I have to silent my phone.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Anyway, how many books have you published already?
Right. Let me talk about the writing. So it was 2020 when my first book got published.
Yeah.
So I have written altogether, there are six books. So my
Wow,
first book was called
congratulations.
Thank you so much. And I can't believe I've got six books on Amazon, and it's on we've got lots of different platforms as well, like Lulu, for example, and Barnes and Noble, and so on. So, for example, the first book, which was called 84 Pins, which is the name of the first poem from that book. In
Yeah.
fact, I shall get the cover so we can have a look. So there it
Wow, that's
goes. This is
nice.
my copy. So this is why they've got a line on it. So it's for the
Okay.
author. So it's my proof copy, but it's got bits in there because I do a lot of performance poetry now. I have shows. So I do a couple of shows a month where I live locally to
Yeah.
audiences, and I'm doing hopefully this year festivals as well. So this is the 84 Pins book, which is the second edition, which came out.
Mm.
And then I did a children's book, which I haven't got the book with me actually, but it's called My Teacher's an Alien. So I did a children's book. And then it was exciting because that's when I actually met Annette Tarpley. And he
Yeah.
actually said, Gafraz, we should do a
Yeah.
book together. And
Yeah. I
to be
remember
honest,
that. I remember you have a collaboration.
that's the book.
Wow.
And recently,
Yes.
I was talking to Elizabeth, who's from Nigeria. We all know
Yes.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
Lizzie,
Yes, of course.
and
I
and
know.
she
I
was
love
reading.
her.
She's brilliant, and she was reading from this book. So this
Yeah.
and I've had two or three other people from Nigeria saying how much they love this book because Annette is obviously quite popular. She's a popular all
Yes. Yes.
globally. But then they started to read my poetry, and I'm going to read from this book as well, which has got the very poem, the very sweet poem, which is called Arch the Moon. Now, the interesting thing is, I I don't know whether a poem is good or not unless someone tells me.
Yes.
It's
And we
true.
will be more fueled once we heard appreciation from the reader, right?
Yes,
We can say, "Oh, I'm a
absolutely.
good writer."
Yes. And so we had two hearts, and then I had something in my head which was became this book, Stab the Pomegranate.
Okay.
This book has done again, it was one of, I had
That's
a review
wonderful.
from America, and they said this is 2021, so a year later. So this was published in June 2021, called Stab the Pomegranate. And this book, I had a review, and I will never
And
forget
I
this
love that
review.
fruit also.
Yeah, well, I love it, but it's stab. Can you see the stabbing of it?
Yeah, I have
But
eaten that
Helen, it's
only in
interesting because
UAE because
yeah,
we don't have,
absolutely.
yeah, we don't have here in the Philippines. Only in
You don't have
UAE.
pomegranate.
Yeah, we don't have.
Oh my God, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Oh my God. We don't have it we don't have it in England. We have to import it.
Ah,
So it comes as
yeah.
import. Yes. Because England is a very cold country, it's very cold,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
always raining and very, very wet.
Yes.
But Stab the Pomegranate, the review from the US, quite famously said, Sarfraz, that book has caused a stir in America because a lot of the
Yes.
American high school students were buying it.
Wow,
Because
really? Okay.
what I did, I actually put some of my best poems in the first bit, the old poems, and then the new poems. So and people thought this was my first book. Everyone thought this was my first book,
Ah,
but it
okay.
was
But
actually
you had
my,
already two before that because it's the
yes,
third
of
one.
course.
Yeah.
So this was Stab the
But
Pomegranate.
Sarfraz, I think we need to give a sample of your poetry. You need to
Yes,
read. But
okay,
before
so
that, you
let's
can show
read.
all your books because it's your time. Okay,
So,
show us
so
that.
this is Two Hearts,
Yeah, two
and it's a
hearts.
collaboration. It's over 200 pages, and I think we've probably got, I would say, almost 150 or 160
Ah,
poems in
yeah.
there with Annette
The
and
speaker
myself.
because it's a collaboration.
Yes, two for the price of one. Okay, so I'm going to read for the Valentine lovers out there. One of the poems that caught the attention of so many people, a very short
Oh, wow.
poem,
I love that. Very
Arch the
short.
Moon, very short, Arch the Moon. If you were to say yes, if you were to say it was true, then I would serenade under the stars, bring the moon to you. I would take your hand the way that lovers do. I would arch the moon. I would do it for you.
Oh,
Thank
so
you.
cute. That's lovely. I love that. I love that.
I mean, Arch the
Well,
Moon it was actually, again, I mean, I didn't know it was good. I didn't know I didn't know it was anything, I just wrote it. But so many people, especially on Instagram and Instagram
yeah.
Live, or when I do a live show, they always say, Arch the Moon, please read it, or do Arch the Moon. I love it. So thank you
Ah,
for that. I'm going to read from
well,
my
I
latest.
am going to, I am going to read my
Oh,
poems.
Helen,
Oh,
sorry, of course.
yeah.
You read one of your poems. I'm very excited to see
Actually,
what you've got.
actually, I'm not used to read poems during interview, but since it's special day, it's Valentine's special for us. I'm going to read this romantic
Of course,
poem.
thank you. And I'm very excited. Yeah. So
Okay,
thank you.
how do I define romantic love? I owe you the lovely words that I wrote from my heart, as if not of loving my heart has nothing to utter. It is just an empty as the lonely and silent air, just like a blank dark space of the universe. But having you in my life colors the solitude of my night. Marvelous fireworks under the evening stars, it is like. You are the lovely music under my pillow at night. You are the
Wow.
sweet smile of my mystic heart, so bright. Your touch and caress for me is entirely right. They rejuvenate me, and the heavy becomes light. You bring romantic blossom into my thoughts. You flourish our emotions and our dreams both. Feeding me with your love inspires my whole being. It gives me stout and healthy great feelings. If you were to ask me how I define romantic love, in my mind, I couldn't take any answer to have. But just as simple as this is its only meaning, I will definitely define romantic love only by your name.
Oh my God. It
Okay,
is so
thank you.
it is so beautiful. I think the line that I love, which is "I will put my love under your pillow." I think that line, when you put that, is
Yeah.
so touching and so sentimental. I just absolutely love it. I love that poem.
Thank
That's a
you,
beautiful, beautiful
Sarfraz.
poem.
Thank you so
Very, very
much.
nice.
Thank you so
Excellent.
much.
Thank you for that. That's great.
Thank you so much. And you are supporting me by that appreciation, you know? So,
Oh,
in what other ways do you support your fellow authors?
okay. So when we, I think I'll call myself one of the lockdown poets because it was, I think, in the lockdown period, but almost 4 years ago now, we all reached out through social media. And that's
Yeah.
when the Passion of Poetry Facebook site started, and
Yes.
I met so many. And my book came out. Annette Tarpley's book came out. The
Yeah.
Passion of Poetry site came, and we started to reach out and make friends and make connections. So the way I support my fellow poet, first and foremost, if I buy their book, I will do
Yeah.
publicity for them. So I
Yes.
know how hard it is for poets to sell books and for them to
Yes.
get because they, for example, we can write the book, but we have no agents, we have no marketing people,
That's right.
so it is hard. So to get another poet to endorse that book, people actually think, oh my God, Safraz is reading it. It must be good. So I always
Yes.
so when I buy it, I endorse it, I read from it. Sometimes I make little promos for it. Um, and so, I mean, the first thing you could do is buy the book. That's how you support your fellow,
Yeah.
artist and your fellow poet.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I'm going to give you an example
Yeah.
of my book, The Ramblings of a Romantic Poet, that
Yes.
what people have done. This is Helen. This was amazing. So that book came out last April 2023,
Yeah.
and when it was
Just last
bought,
year.
especially from America,
Yeah.
uh, I found people reading from it on Instagram Live. So they didn't just buy the book. They read the poetry from there. They did a
Yes.
review. I've had some great reviews. So that's how you can actually support your fellow poets because it's hard becoming a poet.
Yes.
You
You
know,
know, I love
um,
your compassion toward our fellow poets. And it's really good that we are not selfish, that we only
no,
have
no,
to,
no. Of course not. Because I
sell
know,
ours, but we are not buying others. Yeah.
of
So,
course, it's very, very difficult. I mean, I mean, I've been writing for 20 years. I only got published 3 years ago, maybe four. So,
yeah.
it's taken a long, long time.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I think it's the right time for me to be published because my writing has developed and has become a style, and even now it's developing even more because I'm part of a critique group in America that I meet
Yeah.
every week through a brilliant poet, Elliot M. Rubin. And my book, the I'm going to show it now, The Ramblings of a Romantic
Yeah.
Poet.
Wow.
This is a kind of a product of that critique group and meeting a lot of the. I'm the only English person there.
Oh,
I am.
really?
I'm
So
the
proud
only
of
English
you.
person there. Everyone is an American, but they are very lovely and very appreciative. But I said to Elliot, I said, Can I just ask, what is it about my writing that appeals to a lot of the um,
Uh-huh.
global people, but US market?" He goes, "Safraz, don't you know that you write? You write like an American.
And besides that, yeah, that's right. I agree with them. And besides that, you are so nice to talk with, and you have the charm to people, so they will
Oh,
love
thank
you.
you. Thank you
Yeah,
so, so
right.
much.
Not just being
Thank
a
you so much.
poet, but your personality as a whole, and that is
Oh, bless
very
you. Bless you
important.
so much.
That is very
Bless you so much. And
important.
also, you know, there's a lot of things. A lot of poets can write poetry, but there's a few that can, for example, stand in front of an audience and
Yes.
do and read their poetry. Some will not show their face. Um,
Yes, that's right. That's right. I agree with you.
some poets will not do anything like, for example, Instagram Live. They will not show,
Yeah,
they will not
yeah.
read their poetry. They will not publicize, and so they become like people don't know who they are. And the thing
That's
is,
right.
I say, if you have poetry, if you want to write, you want to share it with people. You want to tell people that
You need to
there is
share yourself too.
of course, and
Yes,
the thing is, uh, you know, it's not all about selling books or buying books. It's not about that. For me, the most precious thing is meeting poetry people that love poetry
that's
and sharing my
right.
work and
You
sharing
know,
other people's work as well. I think that's the
that's
most
right.
important thing.
And that is what I'm doing right now because I want to uplift poets and bring their
Of
voices
course.
throughout.
Thank
Yeah, it
you.
is very important. And there are, plenty of kind-hearted people, poets, that they are just silent out there.
Of
They
course.
don't have time to be recognized, and they are so quiet. So we
But
need to
they're very
expose
good.
them, and we are exposing ourselves now.
Of
And I am
course. And
exposing you.
oh, thank you. Because the thing is, the world needs to know these people. They need to know who they
Yes,
are because
yes,
their their poetry is phenomenal. Some of the best poetry that I've read is actually on social media. People are
yeah,
sharing some beautiful poetry on Instagram, on
that's right.
Facebook, on all the different groups, and these people are hidden. They sometimes don't even show their face. I've actually read books where, like my first book, they have no picture.
Yeah,
So I had no picture of me. I had no
yeah.
biography. And I find that people are interested in your poetry, but they're interested in the poet as well. They want to know
Yes,
about their
that's
life.
right. So as long as we are still able to expose ourselves, we have to. Well, for the second time around, I will ask you to read another romantic poem, and I will follow after yours.
Okay, thank you, Helen. You will. I'm going to talk about the
Yeah,
second poem, which is in this book, "The
yeah,
Ramblings of a Romantic Poet." So, this second poem is based or loosely based on a poem by a gentleman called Charles Bukowski, which I was only introduced about a year ago, but changed the way I see poetry. And this is from the Poetry Critique Group in New York,
yeah.
and they
Wow.
introduced me to it. So I'm going to read this poem
Yes.
called Stars.
Stars. I love stars. And I
Oh,
think I
you're
have
going
to
to love,
read
well, you
some
will love
kind
this
of
one. This
poem.
is called
Yeah.
Stars.
Yeah.
Over the years, I've collected stars from the sky, caged them in my ribs, left them to dry. In the darkness of night, I let them out one by one.
Wow.
I see the moon and the sun. The planets orbit and propel me, light up my room, flicker majestically. In
Wow.
the darkness of night, I rip them out of my chest. I close my eyes. I'm taken to far off places, across galaxies, to the far beyond.
Wow.
I will show the stars to the beautiful and divine. Let them sparkle and shine. I will show the stars to the one that will one day be mine.
Wow. I love that. I love that.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And for me, when I wrote it, I absolutely enjoyed writing because for me, to even sometimes people are so shy and they fear rejection in
Yeah,
love and the
that's right.
stars and the heart. What's so precious about you, you know? But I
Yeah.
will share the stars to the one that will one day be mine. They will get
Yeah, I love
everything.
that.
They will get
The
the
last
whole of me, the
sentence
heart of
is
me.
powerful.
I,
Well,
I,
because
I love
you're
it.
reading
It's one.
stars.
It's one that I did a podcast earlier, actually the late last year, so in
Yeah.
sort of December time. So there's a podcast called I think it's Read Me Poetry, something like that. But
Okay.
anyway, I think when I know the lady actually bought, I think she bought all my books or most of them, and so she knew so much about me. And she goes, "Safraz, my favorite poem is Stars. Please, can you read it out?"
So how
So Helen,
pleasing
what
is
poem
that to
have you got
hear?
for us? I'm really excited to listen to your poetry, actually.
Yeah,
So
because
what's the
you're
next poem?
mentioning stars, I will be reading my Starry Night. Okay.
Wow, 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 wow.
Driving my way on the valley of ascending zigzag road, brightened by the glittering stars above the white gray clouds. I was tempted by the overlooking gleam of assorted city lights. I dropped by, wanting to savor the cold breeze of that night. I listened to my speaking heart if she has something to say. She was just observing, silent, smiling yet empty. But I don't but I didn't understand why she was feeling so blue, since there was a lacking in her in which I just didn't know. I looked up the skies and wanted to share my sighs in heaven. I was waiting for the answer as to why my tears were falling. I was reminded there is one star you called after my name. I asked myself, is that the most amorous to me, comforting? I wish I could really be the star you named, Helen, even though it sometimes appears and it sometimes doesn't. Yet it gives you a spark that never ends, even in its absence. It couldn't be erased by time, like stars never stop their existence. Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
I
Oh
love I
wow,
love the
this is
line.
really
There's a line there, which is
Valentine's.
which is I will name the star Helen, which is I love it. There's such a beautiful insight into it. And again, the thing is, love can be beautiful. It is a beautiful thing, and when you find the right person,
That's
it is
right.
the most beautiful experience in your life. And it
That's
is like the
right.
stars have come together, everything has come align. Um, but we poets, we have a very, very, we have a great job to do is to bring love into people's lives. It's
Yeah,
true.
and in this world of, a lot of adversities, a lot of, chaotic, now we have to, as poets, we have to share our hearts and spread
Yes,
love.
of
Well, what is your
course.
advice to the budding poets out there? Because you
Okay.
are now
So,
famous.
yeah, it's a very, very good question. And thank you, Helen. So, I do get asked this quite a lot. And the first thing I will say to people that are writing, first and foremost, do not stop writing. Please,
Yes,
carry on writing, whether you do it personally, whether you share it, but carry on writing. The fact that you write is joyful in itself. The
that's
second
right.
thing is you need to manage your expectations because, for example, even if you get published or if you get some accolade, you need to
Yeah,
manage it because some poets, often think that, they're going to make a huge amount of money and become very, very famous. And you do become famous, but the money doesn't always come. So you need to manage that expectation. Um, but also the thing is as well, don't don't give up. You got to carry on
yeah.
writing. persevere.
Never give
At the
up your
beginning of
dreams.
my career, there was a lot of rejection. So I got, that was,
Yes.
now we can self-publish and we can, there's so many exciting things
Yes.
that Amazon and all of that can do. But don't give up,
Stop.
and also share your work, because people out there are fantastically supportive. Because as poets, the best poets show their vulnerability. It is when you
Yeah.
show your vulnerability that you actually connect with other people. And I found that out. In
Yes.
the beginning, people, actually told me this. And actually, it's the best advice I'll give to budding poets is
That's
show
very
your vulnerability.
beautiful
Don't be
advice.
afraid, because
Don't be afraid.
a lot of people, I've read poems that I can see that they've stopped just when their heart was just beginning to open. They
Yes.
closed it. And I say, no,
Yes.
no, no, no. Open your heart.
Open your
Let
heart
it.
and continue to write. Then
Yes.
what life really matters for you? The last question.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Since
Okay.
we have
So it's okay. I
yeah.
mean, what's important to me in life, I think, first and foremost, is to live each day as if not as if it was my last, but
Yes.
make
Yes.
it memorable. Do something that's important. I like to connect with people as well, um, and also at the end of the day, life is too short, and try and be
Yes, that's
positive.
right.
Try and be
Right.
positive if you can. Um, I think we are very lucky living in this age that we can connect through social media, through
That's
different
right.
technologies. Even if you're on your
Yeah.
own, connect with
That's a very
people.
positive advice, Sarfraz. And
Yeah,
yes, that's
thank
right.
you.
Life is too short and we have to give meaning to our
Give it
every
to me. Yeah, give meaning. Do something
uh,
special.
if
Do something
we are
special if you
fortunate to
can.
help others in our simple way, let us extend our hands, inspire
Of
people not only to
course.
make the
Of
most of
course.
their lives, but to make the most of ours as well. So yeah, so you're so very positive thinking person, and I love your poetry, and thank you
Oh, thank
for
you, Helen.
being
I,
here.
people ask me, they go, how did you write, or how did you come about? And I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you, um, I don't know. I just write.